Now, over the next few days here on BBC Wiltshire, we are going to introduce you to a place you might not have been to or even come across. SWADS stands for Supporting Wellbeing and Developing Stability. It's a wellbeing centre in Swindon that helps a range of different people. Our tour starts in a music studio.
Welcome to the all-new, fresh out the box art and soul show.
In this day and age, well-being, I think, definitely needs looking after. And the more we work with this stuff, the more we're starting to see that where we were pigeonholed in just drugs and alcohol, we're now seeing there is this huge crossover between mental health, drugs, alcohol, self-harm. All these things are in the same boat.
Today's show, music by unsigned.
We create music to help with people's well-being, to be honest.
That is supporting well-being and developing stability.
My name's Mike and I am the project facilitator here at the Sound Recovery Studio in the basement of the SWADS building at 1314 Milton Road. We're in a basement, we're in a studio basement, a basement that's been converted into a music studio, all paid for by the big lottery. SWADS has been here itself for 30 years, or 35 years, maybe longer. We've actually had a studio down here since 2008. We're working with people with drugs and alcohol originally, and then we started working with people with self-harm, and then we've branched out over the last year or so to work with people with mental health issues and anything around well-being whatsoever. So we're just trying to encourage people to enjoy life more through the use of music and art. The thing about SWADS is we're like a family. We work with people one-to-one. We try and help people on a very kind of personal level and to see results and to see that happen, rather than just sort of say, okay, you've had your 6 weeks with us, you've ticked that box, off you go, and then not kind of care about them. We carry on helping people's long-term recovery from these things, which I think is important. I think it's all right to get to a certain level of recovery, but without the maintenance of that, without offering them meaningful activities going forward, without that kind of long-term help for people to stay recovered, it just creates more confusion for somebody to go back where they began again.
When I'm creating music, nothing else exists.
When you come here, what do you do?
I come here to use a recording studio to make my own music, mostly to record guitar parts for songs I'm already working on. Before I came here, I used to leave the house about once a week. I've got bipolar affective disorder, the anxiety that often accompanies it. And so I used to leave the house about once a week if, I was having a good week. And I found that the more I did it, the more confident I became.
So what got you from there to here today?
Often I'll go to a counsellor and they'll tell me what I should be thinking or shouldn't be thinking, but there's no substitute for actually learning that myself, if you like, through being able to just clear my head. I guess it's a form of meditation almost, where when I'm creating, there's nothing else, and so it makes me want to come and be somewhere where I can do that, and do that with other people present as well, not just, me sat on my own, getting sort of cabin fever and all of that.
What stuff have you found out from other people then that meant something to you?
I've spoken to a few people over the years particularly about bipolar. I think the idea that it's not something that only I suffer, and that the ways in which I suffer aren't weird in terms of other bipolar sufferers. I've also found it really helpful to see people that are further along in their journey in terms of recovering and becoming a lot better as time goes on. And you can learn from how they did it, how it might work for you. I was first properly diagnosed with bipolar on the 28th of October 3 years ago.
You remember the date?
Well, yeah, because it was a huge relief. It all came about because on the 27th I attempted to kill myself, and the next day I rang my friends and I was like, something's going wrong, I need you to take me to the hospital and work out what it is. And it was really nice on the 28th to finally have this name and this label for it, something that I could learn about, so I could, work out why I was how I was and how to cope with it.
If SWADS wasn't here,
Yeah.
what do you think life might be like?
Well, I wouldn't be doing all the different things that I'm doing, all the different things I'm involved in. I'm doing different things most days with different groups of people. I wouldn't be bothering to do that. I wouldn't see any value in it because I wouldn't understand the value of something like SWADS unless I'd experienced it.
That's James Osborn, or Ozzy, as everyone knows him. He wrote that piece of music that you heard there as well. It's called New For Me Too. You also heard from Mike Beckley, the project facilitator in the sound recovery studio at SWADS in Swindon. They were talking to BBC Wiltshire's Emma Coleman. What SWADS do in the town is evolving and in challenging circumstances. You can find out more as our tour continues tomorrow morning here on BBC Wiltshire from 9 o'clock. But our huge thanks to James Osborn and to Mike Beckley for talking to us. BBC Wiltshire coming up to 10:15 on Thursday morning. Now, in part of Wiltshire, there is a place that helps people increase self-esteem, encourages an active lifestyle and addresses things like isolation and loneliness and promotes positive change. All of this happens at SWADS, which stands for Supporting Wellbeing and Developing Stability, and it's based in Swindon. BBC Wiltshire's Emma Coleman has been given a tour.
It's a place where you can come and feel secure in the knowledge that you won't be judged, that you will be listened to, that you can have that space and time to talk to somebody if that's what you want. But equally, it's okay if you just want to come along and be. You can come along, you can be as creative as you want. You can come along and just observe for a while if you're not quite sure that if this is what you want. Just somewhere that you can just come and be yourself.
How do you get access to SWADS?
You can self-refer, so you can come and knock on the door and just say, I've heard about you, which has happened a few times. Can I come in and see the project? And we'll show you around. You can talk to your GP and they will refer you to us. They're very aware of our talking therapies because we've got the counselling here as well. So we've got 7 qualified counsellors that work with us, and we're just taking on some new volunteer counsellors as well. So they're very aware of our counselling service.
How far would people travel to come here?
We have people come from Cirencester, from Oxfordshire, Wiltshire. So actually what we've tried to create is a wellbeing centre whereby if it's the closest place that you can access or the easiest for you to get to, it's okay to come.
There is a real need for something like SWADS.
I truly, truly believe that. I worked in the addiction field for over 10 years and you become acutely aware of where the gaps are and the grey areas are and how important it is actually not to pigeonhole people and give them a label. You could wake up and think, you know, I haven't spoken to anybody for a week, a month, a year. Actually, I want to sort of re-engage with society. How do I do that? You can give us a call and you can come in and join us here and we'll help you. So I think there's a real need for somewhere like SWADS.
Hello.
Hiya.
What's your name?
I'm Richard. Basically, I run a branch off of the main studio and we teach the actual editing and all the engineering side. So that's what I teach basically. I see all different kinds of people from mental illnesses to just anyone basically that will better their way of life, their well-being. And it sort of, I come through this programme a long time ago myself, and it really helps a lot for me. I was a drug addict and for many years, so this gave me a routine in my life. This also gave me the opportunity to meet the people I did that I went to CA with, which is Cocaine Anonymous. So I worked a programme through them, and I come here in the days to fill my time, to get me back into society, doing productive stuff basically, and just coming in. So it helped me a lot, so I've got a lot of respect for this place. And now I'm employed by the place. If I can do this, then hopefully the others can too.
But you understand the mechanics of the place and how it works?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that helps you to let other people understand how it works?
Definitely. And I found lately it's not just about actually doing this stuff with the engineering stuff. A lot of the time, Say a third of the time, we're actually talking, and it's about other stuff than the engineering. Music is a great therapy, and it opens up conversation, and there's no sort of barriers there. I don't know why, but it just flows, and everyone I see seems to leave with a smile on their face. I've not had one client that hasn't come back, so it's working.
What was the turning point for you? Why did that come?
Things just got that bad. So from jail, I was a heroin addict for like 25 years, and the longer that you're on it, the more desperate it gets. I didn't know a way out. The only people I knew was doing the same things as me from my estate. There wasn't anyone there to direct me into other ways, of getting clean. And then I met some people through here that went to meetings, NA, CA, AA, and I went into a 12-step program, but used this place because they're not around every day. They're there for 2 hours every night, but this place is open every day, so it gave me some structure and being around like-minded people. I've got a lot of respect for the people that helped me through my journey. Yeah.
And you're part of it now.
And I'm part of it now, yeah. So it's all good, so hopefully I can help. I can give something away. I've got something that they want.
That's someone who's completely turned his life around with the help of that charity. That was Richard, one of the people who helps at the Sound Recovery Studio at SWADS. You also heard from Julie Mattinson, who's the Managing Director of SWADS in Swindon. Our tour will continue tomorrow morning from 9 o'clock.
Travel every 20 minutes. BBC
Up to 10:15. Welcome to the programme. Now, this week, we've taken you to a place that you may have not come across before. SWADS in Swindon is a charity that aims to support people who have had mental health issues or problems with drug and alcohol abuse. Today, you're going to hear from Steph Collins. She arrived at SWADS in April of this year after being diagnosed with bipolar. She's been supported by her family, especially by her stepmum, Sarah. BBC Wiltshire's Emma Coleman has been speaking with Steph and Sarah, and you can hear their conversation. Steph started by explaining how being bipolar affects her.
It's not just mood swings, it's extreme mood swings for a longer amount of time. You can either be really, really depressed or you can be extremely manic. When I got back from a year of travelling, I became extremely depressed. You get back from travelling, got to get a real job. You just think that you're just a bit down in the dumps, but it kind of went way, way past that.
Had it affected you whilst you were travelling? Had you had times where you'd felt a bit low or a bit manic? Or...
I think, definitely. I think the bipolar was probably present a lot longer ago than what I actually realised. I made some really silly decisions whilst I was away that I look back and I think, why on earth did I do that? And I think maybe that was me kind of getting slightly manic, out of control.
With regard to that, I think the way that we've talked and realised is Steph was just like running. It's like she was been on a manic for a number of years. She'd have little dips. There was one time we went to the doctors and things were difficult and the doctor prescribed citalopram to you. You took it for 4 days. She's like, I'm fine now, it's okay. And the thing is, I think when you're a young person and you're at uni, you're enjoying life and everything, you are enjoying life. Life is great. I've known Steph now coming up for 5 years. Since Steph coming back from Australia, really us all becoming a family. I married Steph's father actually in June of this year, and we were due to get married last year after Steph came back, but with Steph's illness in the end we put that to one side and dealt with it. I mean, I'm jumping around a little bit, but certainly the journey that I've been on with Steph, and we look back at what went on in the past, you can quite easily see how easy it is to just keep going and going and going and going, but not everybody can keep going for the rest of their life. We watched Steph just gradually shut off.
So she wasn't talking
she wasn't talking to anybody. Steph went to work, she came back and I knew a company who worked near the business that I had, and it was a great little job. There wasn't much to do, but she couldn't do it. I don't know how, but Steph went in every day for 3 months. Literally, it was a small company. They were very, very busy in what they were doing. They didn't quite know how to deal with Steph. You just couldn't manage the basic things. But we just thought, it's great, she's going to work, blah, blah, blah. You try and carry on life as much as possible, and as normal. You know something's wrong, but when do you step in? When do you do something about it? But she would just sit there from 9 until 5, or until the last person went. We just watched Steph go deeper and deeper and deeper, and until the end, it was like, we can't do this anymore. The job came to an end because I knew the people we spoke, and I just said, you're not going to get out of Steph what you want. And then that was a big day. It was all meant to happen. Steph opened up. There was a letter that Steph had written. I'd contacted the Priory in Bristol. I don't know how we were going to afford it, but the NHS couldn't help us at that stage because she hadn't been. There's a protocol that you go through, but because Steph then had written this letter, and then luckily by a conversation that Steph, her dad, and myself had, she showed it. I mean, there's a funny story to that as well. She'd put it in a jeans pocket. I'd taken the jeans to wash, and she was petrified I was going to find it. I didn't find it, but she showed us. Then that opened the gateway to helping Steph to realising what was going on.
You heard from Steph Collins and her stepmum Sarah speaking to Emma Coleman at SWADS in Swindon. So there was this letter which the family did discover, and you can find out more about that in the next few minutes.
Travel every 20 minutes.
Now, also this morning, you've been hearing from Steph Collins. She is someone who's from Wiltshire, who arrived back in the county from travelling in Australia, and she found that she felt quite low. She started a job in PR, but quite soon found that she couldn't cope. She slowly became more and more detached from life. Her dad and stepmum Sarah were really quite worried about her. One thing that she chose to do was write her feelings down in a letter, but she kept that from her family. We've been having a chat with her at SWADS in Swindon. BBC Wiltshire's Emma Coleman has been to meet Steph and asked her what was in that letter.
So it was a suicide note. As Sarah was saying, I was going into work. It seems so silly now, but one of my first jobs of the day was literally to just send out parcels. It was a PR company, so to send out parcels to different clients for them to try out the headphones or whatever it was we were selling that day or that week. And I literally couldn't even do that. So then instead I would just constantly think in my head I'm a bad person, I'm stupid. And then I would then feel guilty because I hadn't done any work, and then that's why I would stay so late, because I felt why should I leave when I haven't done anything? One of the things as well, I didn't think there was anything wrong. I thought that this was me, and this was going to be me for the rest of my life. There's nothing wrong with me. I was taking antidepressants, but...
So when did you realise that you did have a mental illness?
Well, I think, obviously I wrote the note. At that point, I didn't think the fact that I wanted to kill myself was unusual. We were put under the intensive team, so I had nurses come in to see me every day and stuff, and even then it didn't really sink in.
And we were very lucky that I was able to stop working. It needed to be the female. He's the bigger earner in the family, so it made sense there. But something good comes out of bad things, and one good thing that's come out of this particularly is Steph and I have the most amazing relationship. She lost her mum when she was 14, which is a very, very difficult age. I will never be her mum, but I'm there as that supportive. And do you know what I mean? I mean, Steph just had a birthday, and hand on heart, she has a very, very special place in my heart, as I know I do in hers. And we are very, very lucky to have what we have. So something really positive out of something very negative has come out of this, yeah. And we're both very lucky to have each other.
I don't think I'd be sat here right now if it wasn't for Sarah. Thank you. I don't know.
Thank you. We help each other.
Coming to SWADS has been really amazing for me. And I remember my first day here, I was really quite, scared, and I remember us being sat in the art group and being oh my god, I can't believe I'm sat here. How has this happened? But like since then, like my confidence has grown so much. Like I've created so many things here. I've made good friends, and now I'm actually a volunteer here as well. And I'm working part-time. So like since starting here, I feel like could almost like weekly see like improvements to myself. Yeah, it's good.
SWADS has been a major part of us getting Steph back.
But what is it about here? What happens here that has improved your well-being or made you feel happier? Is happier the right word?
I think I like the fact that you don't just sit down and talk about, oh, I've got bipolar, or I've got this, I've got that. Like, you can actually create things, like with the art upstairs. Like, I mean, I'm quite a creative person anyway. Like, I love things like that. And then I've been learning guitar with Mike downstairs. And I think coming somewhere that kind of away from all your worries and your stress, and just being able to focus on something like in that moment and enjoy it for what it is, it's helped me so much.
That was Steph Collins. You also heard from her stepmum, Sarah, talking from SWADS in Swindon. They are a health and wellbeing centre right in the heart of the town. If you would like to find out more, go to SWADS, which is SWADS.org.uk. And our huge thanks to Steph and Sarah for talking with us. They were talking to BBC Wiltshire's Emma Coleman.